I'm Mike Wolfe. I'm the Stormwater Coordinator for the City of North Liberty. And when we talk about that, there's a lot of permitting, but mostly with the residents, it will be dealing with the local management, whether it's their properties or their neighborhoods. And it comes down to the management of water quality and quantity. What I deal most with on the residential level is going to be the quantity and how much rain is going to run off of their property into the streets, affecting neighbors. And we go about that through many ways. I have some cost share programs that will help residents pay for practices on their properties, and that's an ongoing grant program that is renewed annually. And that has had a tremendous impact on how we deal with regional flooding, flash flooding you could call it, in the streets that you'll see, which can lead to quite a bit of property damage, also inconveniences of flooded streets. You can't get to work, you can't get home. And the main goal for that program is to essentially keep that rainwater out of our streets and out of our storm sewer system. When I talk about the grant that the city offers, the most popular one that we see here is the soil quality restoration. A company of your choosing will come in, they'll aerate your lawn, top dress that with compost. That will increase the organic material that is in the soils and make them healthier. It will increase the root health of the grass there, which in turn will help hold water. And the more organic material in the soils, the more water it will hold, with air pockets that are created from aeration. And also just the compost itself will have some lighter matter in there that will absorb the rain. Some people take advantage of this with rain barrels. You can collect rain from your roofs in a barrel and water your vegetable gardens with it, or whatever you'd like to do. There's a couple residents in town that have installed rain gardens that we will also cover. And how we cover that is we'll reimburse 50% of the cost with a cap of $2,000 on that. It's been very successful. A lot of people take part of it. The last 2 years, I've run out of money pretty early because so many people are taking advantage of it. But that does get renewed every year with the new budget. So get in early and get your name in the pool. And once you're approved, the timing of the project within that fiscal year doesn't matter because the funding will be set aside for you. So when we talk about water quality and quantity, the quality aspect of that, which we're seeing quite a bit of in this whole region of the country, is a lot of blue-green algae in our ponds. And that stems mostly from a nutrient overload, which comes from any number of sources. Majority is going to be the fertilizer programs that are used in our usual drought time. People are fertilizing and overwatering. All that's doing is washing a majority of that into our storm system, which will end up in these regional ponds that we have in the developments. And the blue-green algae thrives on that. Grass clippings in the street may not seem like a big deal, but all of that essentially nitrogen that is getting washed directly into those ponds is also feeding that algae. And also pet waste on our properties. Instead of blowing them into the streets, pick up after your pet. That's a big one. A lot of nitrogen in there as well. Another way that the city gets involved with this is we have a number of practices of our own that we've installed, Centennial Park being the big one. The parking area is all porous pavers. Also, the bioswales that go through the center of Centennial Park, those are extremely important with treating the water quality. All the native plants absorb the rainfall that comes into there. Penn Meadows Park also has a couple of small biocells in there that we'll be rehabbing here in the near future. Some porous concrete in there as well. Those were the first practices installed in the city of North Liberty. You'll also notice on Ranshaw Way, we have a series of biocells all the way up and down, with more to be installed with the future phases. Biocells are simply a bowl that catches the water there, where the bioswale is a continuous flowing area. Now, all of those have engineered soils in there, which will consist of sand, compost, and depending on the mixture, they'll put maybe 10% topsoil in those as well. And then on top of that, we use lava rock on Ranshaw Way. The ones that are in Centennial Park had a layer of mulch. And then what we'll usually do is we'll put native plants in there. And the native plants have a much more robust root system that will absorb and treat that water, which will help quality and quantity. So another aspect of my job here is I'll also monitor construction in the area. We make sure that they'll keep their sites clean. You see a lot of silt fence and erosion tube that you'll see out there. I make sure that all of that is in place so that we keep the graded areas, the bare ground, where they're supposed to be so they're not eroded and run off into our storm sewers and streams during rain events. There's other stuff we look at during construction, so that will help keep the sediments out of our streams, concrete washout areas intact, so they're not washing the concrete waste into the storm sewers, which ultimately all lead to our streams and ponds and rivers. So that's another thing that affects more water quality at that point than it would water quantity. But it's all part of what we do here in North Liberty to help control our runoff and to make sure the water getting to ultimately the Iowa River is kept as clean as possible.
My name is Michael Pentecost, and I'm the street superintendent for the city of North Liberty. One of the roles of my job is dealing with the stormwater structures that we have throughout the city of North Liberty, and that involves monitoring, repairs, communication with property owners, and making sure that the structures are functioning and working properly so that they can do what they're designed to do in storm events. The stormwater systems are calculated to determine what is the adequate, for example, pipe size to handle the flows in that particular area, or stormwater pond to handle the water that would accumulate from that watershed in that particular area, whether it be one subdivision, multiple subdivisions, maybe street projects, things like that. We do have some public pond areas, Liberty Center. There's certain subdivisions that have public ponds, Fox Run, Freedom Park, Broadmoor. These are all public areas that people fish, usually surrounded by parks, so people can utilize the park space. And these aren't all managed by one particular department or one particular person. The city's done a really great job of bringing a stormwater coordinator in. The streets department manages a lot of these structures. The parks department's involved with it. There's a number of players in this that helps manage the stormwater structure and quality in the city of North Liberty. Much of the physical infrastructure, once installed, they have a long life cycle. But like anything, there's maintenance involved in making sure that those structures and systems are going to operate as designed. Some of that may involve routine monitoring and inspection, videoing. Sometimes it involves jetting or debris removal. And once that happens, those structures, they're good for a length of time. If it's in an area that has maybe high tree volume, leaf deposits, that can clog up structures or may require more maintenance. Ponds in particular have a long cycle as long as the erosion measures are in place to help control the sediment from filling those ponds before they need that sediment removed. So you'll see in modern construction curb and gutters instead of open ditches, and part of those curb and gutter systems you'll see storm intakes that drain the street non-pervious paver areas and then take that water away into detention basins typically. All of these structures are a direct benefit to the residents. For example, sump pump lines. There's a sub-drain line right next to the street in most of the city that residents are able to hook their sump pump lines that discharge from their house directly to. That water is then able to leave their property and not flood their basement and their foundations. These are direct benefits that have been achieved throughout the years by building systems that are more modern and able to handle storm runoff. Societies learn from what works and what doesn't, and we're able to utilize those methods in modern construction as the city grows. There's definitely strict requirements on potable water, sanitary sewer, and you're seeing that same mindset work its way into the stormwater quality part of it. Some of the things that we do as streets department employees in our winter operations is we monitor very closely the amount of material that we put down on the streets for snow removal, because all that is runoff into our stormwater system. And the less salt that we can use to still achieve the same safe road driving conditions, that's what we're wanting to do. And that's why the city spent dollars on building a brine making facility, and we're able to utilize that as a continued way of improving our stormwater quality. It's something that you're seeing more and more communities be involved with as far as their level of material that they're using. And we've seen direct results because of that. We went from using a sand salt mix to a completely salt mix, and that sand doesn't break down. It collects in the storm system if it makes it that far. Otherwise, it's a lot of material that we have to sweep up in the springtime. You'll see the street sweeper go out, and that's all part of decisions that get thought about and made to try and improve the water quality that we have here in the city of North Liberty. There's an importance to both the requirements for the city to observe, follow, and maintain. Equally important is the responsibilities of us as homeowners, property owners, city, municipalities to do the right thing as far as it concerns with stormwater, the treatment of it, the proper discharge of it, so that our kids and our grandkids and future generations can enjoy all the things that we're able to enjoy now.